Hey everyone, this is Tell the Truth Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch. Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm going to tell you the truth. I had a lousy weekend when it came to picking teams. I picked the Georgia teams to win. I have a brother named Monty Fitch, and he warned me, do not pick the Braves. Do not pick the Falcons. Do not pick Georgia Bulldogs. Leave those Georgia teams alone. I didn't listen to them, and I paid for it. Now, let's get into the NFL. The Chiefs and the Bills played yesterday. The Chiefs, it was a smart game plan. And I heard Pat Mahomes say, listen, if we got to run the ball and they playing a coverage where they're just selling out to the pass, we'll run the ball. If we win, I don't care about the stats. I care about the W. He's got a ring already. He's got yards. If he plays and his career goes away, I think he's going to go as the greatest. He's going to go down as the GOAT, the real GOAT, if he can complete and be as successful as I think he could be. But in this game against the Bills, they were efficient. They ran the ball. The Bills were sold out in the pass coverage. So they ran the ball. Hilaire had 161 yards rushing. The Chiefs had 245 yards overall rushing. And Josh Allen is a very talented but inaccurate quarterback. I didn't like how he threw the ball yesterday. I didn't like nothing about what the Bills did. Defensively, they never adjusted, and the Chiefs ran the ball. They ran the ball up and down the field. It wasn't a dominant performance points-wise. It was just a dominant performance where they got stops on the Bills. And the Bills started out with a lead. The Bills took a 10-7 lead. And after that, it was all dominance from there. They cut it to 6. And then the Chiefs took the ball, ran down the field, all the way down the field. And, Kelsey had 2 touchdowns, so they were efficient in the pass game. But it was all about Hilaire. And he had a huge game, and they ended up kicking a field goal, and the Chiefs came away on the road with a good road win. That's a good quality road win in the rain. I like everything about how the Chiefs played that game, and they were a little more physical. Now, the other game on Monday night was a disaster if you're a Cowboy fan. The Cowboys were annihilated by the Cardinals, 38-10. It was just a beatdown all day and all night. They went up 21-3. Kenyon Drake was a guy because Kyler Murray was okay. He was 9-24, 188 yards and 2 touchdowns, but it was about Drake. Drake had 164 yards. He rushed really well. The Cowboys, without Dak Prescott, and Dak might get paid. If they don't have a good year, Dak's getting paid. Dalton was all right, but you didn't see the explosive plays that you saw, even in defeat with Dak, as compared to Dalton. Dalton can't. He's not as mobile as Dak, and he can't sling it. He's a capable backup, but he can't get Gallup and Lamb and Cooper and Schultz all the way down the field. And they want to rely on the run game, and you can't. And Elliott only had 489 yards because he fumbled 2 times, and it's in his head. And they're turning the ball over. They're -12 this year in turnovers. They got talent. Laying with talent, but it doesn't matter if you keep losing. But, the loss of Dak, I think, took their opportunity from winning the division. I really do. I think it's Phillies to lose. But the Cowboys spit the bit. And as a Steeler fan or any fan of a team that hasn't played Dallas in the future, you're hoping you don't run into that one game where they actually play to their ability. And you're like, we're getting Dallas' A game with all that talent, receivers and pass rushers and Van Der Esch and linebacker, Awuzie and their safeties, the safety from Alabama. If they all played as a team, you would be in trouble. I'm hoping you just to get in and out of Dallas with a win without them waking up. Because if they ever put it together, they would be dangerous, even with Dalton as a backup. But they're so poorly coached on defense because last year Linehan had them more prepared. This year, I don't like they're not hustling. You saw the Cleveland game where they just didn't hustle. And that's what, like, I was surprised because I thought, okay, with Dak, I mean, now Dak's hurt, but with Dak, I was like, man, that's with all that talent, they're a contender. But now I think it's Philly's division. They can still win the division, but it's Philly's division to win. The main heavyweight matchup between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers did not materialize at all. At all. Rodgers was bad. They took an early lead, but then he threw a pick six. Then he threw another interception, and they fell apart. And then Tampa scored 28 straight points in the second quarter. They were up 28-10, and that was it. They ended up winning 38-10. Brady was solid, 17-27, 166, 2 touchdowns. Gronk gets a touchdown. Ronald Jones that's a great move. We're using the running game to give Brady a break at his age. It allows Brady he doesn't have to go throw for 500 because their defense is balling. David and Sue playing inspired. Much credit to Todd Bowles. You know, him and Arians are joined to the hip. Todd Bowles has got those guys flying. They were pushing Green Bay around. This is the only problem I've had with Green Bay for the last 9 years since they won it. From the time the Giants punked them the following year, when the Giants won their other Super Bowl, Manning's second Super Bowl, to Seattle games in Seattle, at home, getting beat by the Niners, who are more physical, getting beat down by Kaepernick and the Niners, getting beat down by Garofalo and the Niners last year. There's just a little bit of a soft streak that's in Green Bay, especially on defense. You'll see them play good defense, but then in the big moment, they just get ran over, they get passed on, they get pushed around. Green Bay's vaunted offensive line always gets pushed around, so Rodgers is running for his life, and Rodgers is a little bit off in those certain games. I don't trust Green Bay. I do not at all. This is something about them. They would have to get to the Super Bowl for me to win their trust. I just don't trust them. And this game was a validation. And Tampa's a contender. I don't know if they're going to get to the Super Bowl, but it's a nice ingredient with the running game and the defense, and Brady with the experience, and Gronk and Evans and those dudes. And there's some dudes on that team. The next game was the Steelers and the Browns. I was scared of this game. I said Pittsburgh would win, but it would be close. I did not think Pittsburgh would come out here and just slaughter the Browns. It's one of those rare games. If you're a fan, you're sitting back and like, wow, I get to relax on a Sunday and not be stressed out. The pick six by Fitzpatrick, he made his mark for the first time this year, and they just dominated. And Ben didn't have to go crazy. He was just, pretty good numbers. 14 of 22, 162. Touchdown. Claypool is really a stud. And Connor ran for 100 yards. They were a little more physical than, But it was Baker Mayfield. It was terrible. 2 interceptions. He got sacked 4 times. And they didn't run the ball. And Steele's defense is good on the run. I'm really looking forward to Tennessee, the next game I'm going to talk about, how they match up. If you're a defensive coordinator now, you may have to, if you don't have the best cornerback, you may have to think about doubling Claypool and singling Juju and put your best corner on Juju and doubling Claypool and making Ben go to Washington and make sure Ebron don't go crazy. And you stopped right there. The Steelers are a contender. I'm not giving them an A+ because I got to see what happens with Tennessee. But they're undefeated. Seattle's undefeated. This next team, Tennessee's undefeated. And Tennessee has absolutely, positively no business being undefeated. Travis Henry is the LeBron James of the NFL. He carries teams on his big shoulders. He had 212 yards, a 94-yard touchdown, another one, and he flew. Once he got past the 20-yard line and he had 80 more yards to go, he flew past the secondary with that size and that speed. I was like, my gosh. He blew me away with that run. But Houston comes right back. because Deshaun Watson was balling. And this is the shame of it all, because if they would have won this game, they could have had a good feeling about the rest of the ceiling with Cornell and the way he played. Watch that, 335 yards, 4 touchdowns. So he was playing well. Scored the last touchdown. They're up 29 to they're up 29. Wait a second. No, 36 to 29. You kick a field goal, you're up 8. You make them score and get the 2-point conversion. So now they have to score twice. But Cornell elects to go for the 2, thinking he's going to put the game away. They make it's a terrible play call. And terrible play calls ruled the day, and it could ruin seasons. It ruined the Texas season. Tennessee comes right down the field, scores. They don't need a 2-point conversion. Tie, goes overtime. Tennessee gets the ball. I know the game's over. And Travis Henry gets a 53-yard screen pass. He goes 53 yards. They set it up. He gets a 5-yard run. Game's over. And Tennessee's undefeated. They did what they had to do. They stole that game. And sometimes when you're trying to play to be a contender, you got to steal games. And they did. So I was impressed with that. So they're undefeated. And I'm going to break down my next football show. I'm going to break down the Steelers and Titans. I'm going to probably have Kev Easy I call him Kev from Steelers for 7 podcasts. I'll try to get another guest on to break the game down. But Tennessee did what they had to do, and the Steelers were finally dominant because they haven't played a clean game all year. Now, Professor Ron is back. I'm here to give out grades. No one's getting an A+. I haven't seen an A+ performance. Everybody's got flaws. All these teams who I've graded an A have certain flaws. Kansas City's not the best run-stopping team, but I have them with an A. They're part of the A team. The undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers and Tennessee Titans are part of the A team. Seattle's part of the A team. Tampa Bay, I've moved up to the A team. Very bad loss to the Bears, but I moved them up. Baltimore Ravens are on the A team. They played the Eagles, and the Eagles came after being down 24-6 at the half. They came storming back, but once again, a dumb 2-point conversion play call cost them. They have a chance to tie the score. They have all the momentum. Instead of running Carson Wentz on the read option, run outside, they try to run him up the middle on a stupid play call. Judon tackles him, and that was a game. But Baltimore did what they had to do. They only lost to Kansas City. The B+ team, the Bears, the Packers, Arizona has moved up here, in New Orleans. And I got one B- team, the Las Vegas Raiders, because they did beat the Chiefs 2 weeks ago. They're only B-. I'm keeping them up here, but they got to beat Tampa, or they go right back out of the rotation. And no one gets. I don't do C's and D's. To be on my list, you got to have high standards. You got to play at a high level. I'm just giving out B's and A's, and that's it. So Las Vegas made the cut, but they got to win. They got to keep winning to stay in this elite area that I have. Now, Major League Baseball. Dodgers and the Braves. First, I want to go with Tampa. They beat the Houston Astros. They were up 3-0. Astros come storming back 3-3. I was thinking Astros could get them, but the Astros had nothing left. And Charlie Morton was putting them away. 5 strong innings. And then they ended up beating the Astros 4-3. They ended up finishing it off and then going back to the World Series for the second time in their history. So congrats to Tampa, winning 4-2. And Mike Zunino, unsung hero catcher, hit a big homer to put them up 4-0, and then they ended up winning 4-2. And I cannot say enough about Randy Arozarena. and he's unpitchable right now. And Dodgers going to have to do. They're going to have a team meeting with their pitchers to figure out what they want to do with them. Whether they're going to walk them, or they're going to pitch around them. How they're going to go right after him. He's putting up. He has 6 home runs this postseason. It's Reggie Jackson-ish how many big home runs he's been hitting. So the Dodgers have to deal with that. And let's get to the Dodgers-Braves series. I picked the Braves to win after they were up 3-1. Dumb pick. It's like picking the Falcons in a big game. They're like picking Georgia, which I did, and they lost to Alabama. Dodgers showed heart I didn't think they had. I think the biggest hit, I understand Bellinger's homer, the biggest hit of the series, it was 3-1. The Braves were up 2-0. And the 3-run homer given up by Will Smith to Will Smith was the biggest hit of the series. It could have been the biggest hit. If the Dodgers win the World Series, it's one of the biggest hits in franchise history. It goes up there with Kirk Gibson's home run. And Steve Yeager's home run in 81 when they turned around and came back from 2-0 against the Yankees. There's some home runs that really helped the Dodgers franchise. For them to win the World Series, they have to do better than they did. They didn't get good 2-out hits, but they were able to survive because Hernandez hits a big home run in Game 7 to tie the score. That was so huge when he tied the score at 3 in the 6th inning, because it goes to inning 7, inning 8. Now the pressure mounts. Now you're starting to press. Now the game tied. You don't have to press. It's anyone's game, and it relaxed the Dodgers. And Bellinger hits a monster shot. He hurt his shoulder celebrating. I guess he says he's okay. He's such a freakish athlete. That would mess up a normal guy, but I think because he's such a freakish athlete, I think he's going to be okay. Tampa versus the Dodgers. Kershaw versus Glasnow. Glasnow throws the ball. He's got some of the nastiest stuff with his fastball and slider. You know what Kershaw's going to bring? He's going to bring guile. He doesn't have the best history, but he has won a World Series. He's won big games and he's lost big games. It's kind of spotty. But for Tampa to win, Charlie Big Game Morton has got to win Game 3 and Game 7. That's the big advantage they got. They got him for 3, and they got him if it goes 7. They know they got a money pitcher. Now, Walker Buehler has to show that he is that guy. He would have to be that guy if it gets to Game 7. And I think it could get to 7. These are 2 evenly matched teams. Tampa has some holes in their lineup. Choi is really, I got to really get to see how good Choi is. But Zunino played well. I got to see the rest of their guys. I know Choi played well. I want to see Brandon Lowe hit better. Yandy Diaz was coming out of his Mike Brousseau was a hero of the Yankee series. Zunino has played well. And I want to see what Margot's going to do. And Kevin Kiermaier. Those are the guys that got to hit, and sometimes they don't. And it's almost like the Dodgers. The Dodgers will try to swing for the fences, and then there's holes in the lineup. So it's 2 teams that can be streaky and hit homers, but they also go into slumps. So it's a team that gets those 2-out hits. You got second and third with 2 outs. You want to get that single. Don't worry about hitting a homer. If you do, you do. The teams that play small ball, like what Will Smith did the other day, driving in 2 runs against the Braves to tie the game up at 2, those are little things the Dodgers have to do. But the Dodgers were terrible in 2-out situations. They have to be. I don't think the Dodgers play good against the Braves. There's another level the Dodgers need to go up to beat Tampa. There's a level they could go where Tampa can't go. If Tampa's going to win this series, if the Dodgers are pressing and they strike out a lot or pop out and their Dodgers don't get length from their starters, if Buehler and Kershaw and Urias, who's a hero of the series, can't give them length, they're going to tax that bullpen. Like Tampa's bullpen is ridiculous. Their bullpen is Fairbanks and Yarborough, Nick Anderson. They throw hard, they throw changeups, they throw slide, they throw 100 miles an hour. Then they're gonna throw a slider, different arm angles. It's rough. You don't want to go into the bullpen, but for the Dodgers to win and try to break this drought, they're gonna have to go through hell and handbasket. That's what the Cubs had to go through. The Cubs had to go through a great Cleveland team with a great Cleveland staff, with Andrew Miller and their closer that was great. They had to deal with an uphill battle, and they figured it out. And the Dodgers have to do that. They have to figure out how to hit these guys. Somehow, some way, got to play small ball. Corey Seager's got to continue his torrid streak. He's making contact. Corey Seager's locked in. Muncy has to continue to be smart at the plate. I think if the Dodgers are going to win, Mookie Betts is going to be the MVP. And Mookie Betts was like the co-MVP with some of the great catches he was making. He's a great fielder and a lot of great at-bats. He doesn't strike out a lot. He gets on base, and that gives you runs. He is the most important acquisition the Dodgers have made since Kirk Gibson. I think Kershaw is due for 2 great performances. He's got a 15th chance. His second and third, this is like his 15th chance. He wants to cash it. This is an opportunity to get that elusive ring that he's been chasing. This could be his Dave Winfield moment. Dave Winfield was Mr. May when he messed up with the Yankees in 81. He goes 92, he goes to Toronto, gets the game-winning double against the Braves, and he wins his first ring with Toronto. Remember that. He could maybe. I don't know. Tampa could win it. Tampa's so good. They're evenly matched. So I just want to put how Tampa could win and how the Dodgers could win instead of making a prediction. Speaking of dumb predictions, I predicted the Georgia Bulldogs would go into Alabama and Tuscaloosa and win. Stupid! All right, this is why this was dumb. And I really okay, let me get my composure here because I love me some Alabama. But I didn't because of Nick Saban. I'm not sure how prepared he was after getting the coronavirus. He comes back. Thank God he's okay. But it looked like Georgia was doing well. It looked like this was Georgia. Everything was working out with Georgia's favor. Alabama scores, misses the extra point. Georgia goes up 13-7. Georgia goes up 17-10. Then Alabama scores to tie the game. Well, no, it's 13. It's 24-20 after a great drive, and Georgia draws Alabama off sides, and then on fourth down they end up scoring. Nick Saban was furious after that. They're up 24-17. Alabama comes down. It's a big drive near with a minute left, gets a field goal, 24-20. This is where the stupid part takes place. Alabama has the ball at their own 10-yard line. You cannot. If you see Jalen Waddle lining up on the outside, your corner has to go back 10 yards. Your safety has to be deep. And you let your linemen and linebackers take care of the run. They play press coverage on Jalen Waddle, and he goes over the top. Mac Jones is a beast. Those over the top, 90-yard touchdown, 26-24. And then a bad interception by Stetson Bennett. He throws across the field, and then Alabama takes advantage, goes down the field, and Najee Harris scores. And then another bad interception, and then Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith is another beast to go along with Jalen Waddle, and they ended up winning 41-24. And Bennett had two interceptions. Georgia's top guy ran the ball for 57 yards. And Georgia, I'm surprised at this, gave up 150 yards to Najee Harris, who ran ran all over Georgia. So Alabama's more physical after the Ole Miss game. Much credit to Alabama. Before I get into my boxing segment, I want to give love to Arkansas and Texas A&M. They both beat up on the Mississippi teams. Arkansas beat up on Ole Miss, and Texas A&M beat Mississippi State. And now Arkansas and Texas A&M is a game I'm actually looking forward to. The game is, I believe, is in Texas A&M. I wish it was at Jerry's World. I love when they play each other in Jerry's World, but they're not. Much credit to Texas A&M. They turned it around. Arkansas is a lot better. This is for the number 2 team in the East. If Arkansas pulls this off, Arkansas-Alabama is for the championship of the West. I'm not sold on Auburn. They got beat by South Carolina. Shout out to South Carolina for winning for the first time since 1933 versus Auburn. But I'm looking forward to A&M and Arkansas. That's the game you mark your calendar on to see. The Big Ten is back. Pac-10 and Pac-12 will be back. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that shapes out. Then I got to go grab up Big Ten Gary, who does his own podcast. I'm looking forward to grabbing him. He's a Big Ten guy, and I'm going to put him on my show to give the Big Ten some love. Now, boxing. I was very, very happy. I'm going to tell you why I was happy. Teofimo Lopez beats Lomachenko, and I'm going to tell you why I beat him in a decision. For the first 6 rounds, Lomachenko ran. Well, not ran. He just took it off, got out of the way. He was getting jabbed in the body. But Lopez knew, okay, he set a trap for me. So I'm just going to pop him in the body. Pop that jab. Work that jab. Not throw too many punches, take too many chances, pop that jab, hit the occasional right. He was just doing that for 6 rounds. Okay, I said, okay, Lomachenko's got to come out and come after him now. 7th, 8th, and 9th, Lomachenko's coming after him. He's hitting him. Lopez not using that jab anymore. He's hitting him. So Lomachenko's thinking, I'm going to put him on the camera. I'm going to get rid of him. I think it was the arrogance of Lomachenko to take the 6 rounds off, thinking he was going to get either a hookup or he's going to get rid of Lopez. And Lopez went nowhere. He popped him, hit him with good shots. Lopez didn't go nowhere. So near the 11th and 12th, Lopez won the 11th. And he completely dominated the 12th. And he ended up winning the decision. And I told you, I've been saying this on different radio shows. Lomachenko's a good fighter, but he's the most overrated, overhyped fighter I've seen since Nassim Hamed. Sometimes these television stations that cover boxing go bonkers over a guy. But I felt good, and Lopez did right. Normally you want to I don't want to see a rematch. He would knock Lomachenko out in a rematch. It's a waste. But he's going to move up to fight maybe Haney or Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. Oh, my God. If boxing gets itself together with the matchups, you make that match. And him and his father intimated that Aram is not happy that Lomo won. Lomo lost. And now Aram's got to figure out what to do because he wanted Lomachenko to win and then play keep away. He was never going to move up and fight Haney and those guys. He was going to have Lomo fight some C fighters so he could get more glory and more overrated and overhyped praise. And it ruined the Lomachenko train, and I love it because that's good for boxing. Lopez is good for boxing because Lopez wants to go up and fight people right away. He doesn't want to wait. Okay, he's a champ. That's good. I'm a champ, but I want to fight people. I want to fight the biggest dudes in boxing. We worry about titles later. I want a legacy. Now, listen, Delvin Haney is a different monkey than different, for lack of a better word, guy than Lomachenko. Devin Haney is a good boxer. Devin Haney is bigger. Devin Haney is not giving up. He's not going to sit and run 6 rounds and give the first 6 rounds. He's coming after Lopez, and Lopez is going to come after him. Beautiful fight. I got to see where King Ryan is. Hopefully, Oscar could start to give him some fights. Ryan wants this. But Oscar kind of at times plays a little keep away too. It's not that time. I want to see Tank Davis. If he'll beat Santa Cruz. I want him to call out Lopez. That's the fight I might want to see first because he's a dog. I've seen Tank Davis in person. I love guys like that. I love him, the Charlos. I love Lopez, Haney. So that's going to be that's what I love when boxing, their young 23-year-old star goes up against another. Billy Haney's 25. All these guys are young. They could beat each other up. You could do a rematch with that. That would be understandable. But I love what happened, and I'm going to do a World Series radio show on Tell the Truth Sports Radio. So I'm going to tell the truth about what happened and see where it goes. I didn't make any prediction, but this is going to be a fun time in this month for sports in October.